Hello mathematicians, puzzlers, and other curious people. In this video we're once again looking at a problem from the Math 0325 Test 2 Review Guide, and in this one we are looking at how to calculate interest that's charged on a credit card. So in this problem we are told that Rich bought a new cell phone and used his credit card to make the purchase. The unpaid balance on his credit card is $352.50. And if he has to pay the highest annual percentage rate APR due to having bad credit, we want to know how much interest will he have to pay on his balance this month. So it's kind of sneaky, but this month is a really important part of that. So let's see. We've got some information here, and this is the same kind of information that you might see on the paperwork when you get a credit card, or when they're sending you paperwork in advance trying to convince you to get a credit card. So this is a good thing to look for informational purposes, for daily life that lots of people might need regardless of what kind of line of work they're in. So there's an introductory APR for 6 months. That's a pretty common practice for it to start out lower to try to tempt the person. Some people will rotate quickly between credit cards to try to keep their balance on a card that's at an introductory APR. I'm not going to say a person shouldn't do that, because obviously if you do it right, it can be useful in saving money, but it is a lot of work. So make sure that you're the kind of person who can keep track of that if that's something you're interested in doing. Let's see, so after that, your APR will be 10.99% to 23.99% based on your credit worthiness. Well, what I noticed in this problem is it says that Rich has to pay the highest APR because he has bad credit. So what's the highest? Well, that's the 23.99%. We're going to need that fact for calculating how much interest he has to pay. Now, when they say how much interest, instead of a percent, when they're talking about specifically paying something this month, we're talking about a dollar amount here. That will be our answer for this. So we want to know how many dollars and cents Rich will have to pay in interest because of having used his credit card to buy a cell phone. So let's take a look. Interest is calculated using the formula I equals P R T. By the way, this is a mathematician's trick for not making T's look like plus signs, breaking out the cursive like that, where P is the principal, which is the amount of money that is in the account before the interest is charged. When I say the amount in the account, that can be either as a debt or as a savings deposit. So another word you might often see for this is the balance. Now, banks have different ways they deal with this. It's fairly usual when you're talking about a balance that might change over the course of the period of time in question for banks to use what's called an average daily balance. We're going to assume for this problem that whatever method they use, that the balance has been the same all month. So that principal, that balance, will be the $352.50. The rate, R here, will be the APR. And then there's one more fact we need to plug into this formula, and that's the amount of time. This one tricks people. So we're talking about this month, so that's 1 month, right? Well, there's a catch for that. So since we're talking about time, we need to match units with the rate. So this will be time in years. Well, we're talking about 1 month. That's less than 1 year. This is where we need to use a fraction. You can also convert it to a decimal. I find it easier to put these in as a fraction and just let the calculator deal with it. That way we don't have to decide until the end what digits to keep. So 1 month will be 1/12 of a year. And that APR will be the one for the bad credit, the 23.99%, which we will express as a decimal because that's more compatible for calculation. So that'll be 0.2399. You can either mentally move the decimal point 2 places or use your calculator to divide by 100 to go from a percent to a decimal, just like you would multiply by 100 to go in the opposite direction. So let's put these together now. So that principal is $352.50, and then multiply on the rate. So times 0.2399 per year, and then times 1/12 of a year. This looks like a good calculator problem, so I'm grabbing my calculator and I'm punching in 352.50 times 0.2399 times 1 divided by 12. You can put parentheses around the fraction or not. It doesn't matter in this particular case. A lot of people like to because they just feel like it's more organized. Go for it. Okay, so my calculator tells me that that comes out to 7.04700625, and I just bet there are more digits that got cut off, but we're talking about dollars and cents here. So we'll have 2 decimal places that we're rounding to. 7 bumps up 4 to 5. So $7.05, because, the bank's not going to be nice and round down instead. It's just not how they roll. So Rich will have to pay $7.05 in interest. So if his payment is, say, $20, only $12.95 will go toward paying down that balance so that he would have that situation taken care of. One thing people will do to make it more affordable to have a credit card is they will pay much more if they can, any month where their budget will allow it, than the minimum payment, because those minimum payments are designed to keep you paying for a long time, so the card company earns more interest from you. So to get around that, you're always allowed to pay it down faster. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.